Hi everyone. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing lessons from three things that happened to me this week. The first lesson is going to be a little downer. Today I was going through a depressed state of being. I had tasks to do and I did not want to do them. Like I was fighting myself the entire time to do some task. And I did end up doing some of my task. If we're to look at it in the sense of, let's say yesterday I said, okay, I'm going to walk 10 miles tomorrow. And barely today I walked half a mile. That's what happened. Like, there's obviously negatives about the fact of not doing what it is that you're supposed to do because you just didn't want to. You have to say that out loud because it's kind of crazy because you didn't feel like it. That's why you didn't do it. But I'm also not going to shame myself further because that's another thing I did today was it became a cycle of not wanting to do work and then shaming myself for not wanting to do work, which made me not want to do work even further. Funny enough. And I wanted to reflect on that day, figure out what are some lessons I could take away from this. How could I do better? Because it's not going to be it's not my first time having depressive episodes, if that's the right phrase for it. It's not going to be my last. I'll use this as an opportunity. Well, first, it was a pretty good day. Otherwise, nothing bad happened to me. It was pretty good. Like I had food, I woke up well, everything. My family was fine. The world was fine. So that's good. It's the first thing. So be happy about what happened. I'm also happy that I walked half a mile. That's half a mile closer than I was before. So that's another positive. One thing I realized that I should have I realized I could have done to help, like it was actually later on in the day, was to change my environment. I was in a place where I was feeling depressed. Could have been the environment. Also, I was alone, so that didn't help. The fact that I was alone in an environment that put my mood down did not help. And one of the things that I should have done and that I will do and that you could do also is whenever this happens, change the environment that you're in and also change the people. So if you're by yourself, add some people. If you're with some people, you can change the people. If you're with people, you can also remove people. We all work differently. For me, and I've being around people would have definitely helped me get out that rut. So those are the lessons I took away from today's depressed episode. Hopefully, you found some value there. On to the next thing I want to talk about is actually some things I've learned while calling over the phone this week. The first two big things that I learned was to be happy while making phone calls. For some reason, my natural instinct is to hate phone calls. And I don't want to say that too often because I don't want to subconsciously tell myself that I don't like phone calls. I'm making it more fun for myself when making those phone calls. I'm smiling more, which it's good for selling. I'm laughing more, and whenever there's that time period where you're dialing, I would play solitaire during those downtimes. So whenever I have to dial or wait for a voicemail. I'm just playing solitaire. I'm having the best time of my life. Another thing I've been implementing just because of observing how I act is I like if I have to do cold approaches, which means either cold calls or cold person to person situations, it takes me a while to get ready. I would say it takes me about 30 minutes of me, like, let's say I'm in the car and I have to go on a campus and then talk to people. I'll spend approximately 30 minutes in the car contemplating not doing it. That's the honest truth. I sometimes don't want to do it. I'm like, I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. Like, I'm scared, and there's all these. It's not really, well, it's partially fear that I will fail. So I have to kind of breathe in, just let that wave ride. I'm not controlling myself. I'm not telling you to control yourself. Highly advise not to spend that 30 minutes having negative thoughts. That's not going to help you. It's only going to make it more difficult. Those 30 minutes, take them to relax, take the edge off, and remind yourself that it's whatever happens is okay. Success for the sales day or failure for the sales day, again, it's success of the sales day. It's not you as an individual. And when you are actually speaking to your prospects, keep in mind that you must ask them for the sell. That's something I didn't do this week for my in-person conversations. I pitched them the idea. I've had them get the product. I didn't actually sell them on the product. I didn't ask them for money properly. Like, I asked a couple people and properly asked them even before I actually gave them the pitch. So that was a failure. Well, that was a lesson. Not to do that again, because it was interesting. When I told them about the price, first I said, okay, I'm gonna sell you on this thing. I could feel them closing off themselves from the conversation because I didn't want to be sold on something. By starting the conversation correctly, so with the other prospects, had a story, had some data, blah 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 blah. They didn't have resistance for me having the conversation with them, which would have led to an easier call to action to purchase, because they've now become comfortable, like me, trust me, and know me because of the conversation we're having, so they'll be willing to purchase if they see the value in the product, which that's where we come in as salespeople to explain the value and then give them the value in exchange for some dollars. During the sales conversations, I can't really call them sales conversations because I didn't ask for the sell. So during the conversations I had with the prospects, another lesson was there, which was to learn more about your prospect. One of the prospect for one of the services, I thought they were gonna be all the same. Like, they would have similar interests. They would understand the same things, they would have the same understanding of technology. And this week has definitely shown me that's not true. And one of the sales letters included something about a $500 Ulta gift card. So Ulta is a makeup company. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sell things to women. So I will include the Ulta. And most of the people that I spoke to, most of the women I spoke to about it, they didn't know what it was. Like there were two. There was one that was super excited about it. She's like, what? Like all women know about this. And I was like, I thought so too. Turns out it's not true. Another one, she wasn't excited. She was like, oh, that's cool. I'll take it. So that's another thing where having these conversations, you get to learn about your prospect. Now I know Ulta is not that big of a deal because only some of my prospects really like it. I have the choice of either changing that or niching down to that specific prospect. I don't think I'm going to do the second one. The first one will be what I implement because I spoke to other people and the other gifts, they liked it a lot more. So I'm going to use those. And really, that's some of the bigger lessons I learned this week that I can share with you guys. I wanted to make this video about something different about our sales letters, and I wasn't able to finish that today because, like I told you, I only walked half a mile instead of 10 miles today.